Sometimes I gotta like push through to do certain things. I was having a conversation with one of my closest friends, and I was talking about, loving your job, and even in the midst of that passion, can you still have bad days? And if it's something that you love, should we expect to have good days all the time? And what made me think about that is because this past week has just been very depressing. Like, everything's been depressing, just going to work, being off, being a father is just like, sometimes I just don't want to do anything. I can't do anything. And no matter how hard I pray, no matter how positive I think, no matter how much my mind is telling me that I will be okay, it's just not clicking. So it's just like, even with podcasting, I try to be as consistent as possible, and I'm be honest, sometimes I just be lazy with it. And it's just something sometimes where I'm at a point in my life where I want to be where I want to be, but when I'm not, like, when I beat myself up about it, it even makes me even more stressful. Because those of you who know me, those of you who've been listening, again, thank you. I just want to be clear that I love expressing myself. I'd rather be heard than not seen, but sometimes my presence is necessary. But I just think that praying sometimes isn't enough. Like, all faith and no work is dead. Like, I believe in my prayers. Like, when I pray, I let things go. But it's still kind of like one of those things where I get impatient with God, and I just want to be like, all right, hurry up already. But even with that, knowing that I trust in God and have faith in God, it's like, what is it when, even though I believe, and even though I trust, even though I love, even though I care, what is it where it's just not clicking? All these things, but it's still like, you got to overcome adversity. You got to overcome the stress. You got to overcome the depression. But it's just not clicking. And that's just something that I can't stress enough, because I feel like wealth is health. Health is wealth. But it's also like the mental state. Having that joy, having that consistent joy, constant joy. It's like, am I wrong? Am I wrong for seeking that and striving for that and expecting that all the time? And it's just something that I really want to put in the atmosphere, that joy is the best thing that you can have. So whenever you're not in that position, whenever you can't find that joy, no matter how hard you try, no matter how hard you pray, is what are you to do? Because I don't have all the answers. Again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a scholar, I'm not a professor, I'm just a individual man. I am special, like we all are in our own right. And I have the understanding, the wisdom, the gift, but it's even sometimes I just can't utilize it. Sometimes it's just like, I can't, like, I will sit here and sleep. I will sit here and do things that entertain me. I will listen to podcasts. I will listen to music. And it's just like, I can't get out of that slump. It's like, sometimes me venting, sometimes me talking about it vocally, sometimes, that's all I can do. I feel much better. Writing it down don't always help. Talking to a therapist doesn't always help. And I do need to get back into therapy. I do encourage therapy. I do encourage finding the right therapist. Whether if you're a man and you need to speak to another man, that's good. If you're a man, you need to speak to a woman, that's good. If you're a woman who needs to speak to a woman, that's good. Because we need different perspective. We need different insights. Even with different ethnic backgrounds, it's important to have that. I wish that I can get into. I want to really encourage multiple therapists, right? Because sometimes having different insight, it can be much, but it's still there's different ways to go about things. Because again, being, even in the culture and even the black culture, me being melanated, being a black man in America, I know that there are different cultures that I can adjust and adapt in, whether it's military, the military community, whether it's the man community, whether it's the black community, black man community, all these different communities. And I think even in these different communities that I am a part of, there's different avenues, different perspectives, different ways to go about certain things. And I think also as a man, it's important to at least be able to understand the black women community, the women community, because, you can't be misogynistic. I mean, you can, but it's like, it's not good to be misogynistic, because I think sometimes when there's men out here, when there's men out here who still lives by this patriarch society, there's an understanding, there's a way that people go about where it's like, okay, women don't need to talk, women don't need to have opinions on certain things. And I just think that's misogynistic. I think we all should have opinions. Now, and again, I'm not one of those people who will tell a woman what to do with their body, what I don't know what it takes to be a woman. I'm not someone who's going to sit here and tell a woman what a woman is. So I don't think women should be able to do the same thing. But, staying on point, my point is just getting out of depression. Like, how do you know you're dealing with depression? What is depression? What do you do to, like, what can you do? Because if we go by the definition, feelings of severe despondency and dejection, along and suffer a recession in the economy or market, the action of lowering something or pressing something down, it's just different things. Like, how do we get here? Why? Like, how do we deal with it? Can we talk to somebody about it? I was talking to my friend, like I said, and like, I've been in a slump, and as I was expressing and talking to her, it loosened me up a little bit. It made me feel a little better. I'm in a much better mood now that I was able to speak to someone. But again, it wasn't therapy, but I think sometimes talking it out, talking through what's wrong, and even to someone, just having someone listen to you makes a big difference. Having someone you care that cares makes a difference. So even, like I said, even when you're talking, like when I'm talking to myself and I'm sitting here saying like, everything's going to be okay, I still don't feel it. I'm in a position, like, again, is it work related? Is it finance related? Is it parenting related? Like, it could be everything. Because I think sometimes when we, even like people in general, when we set expectations for ourselves and those expectations aren't met, and then especially if we have a deadline, and you never want to do that, but if those expectations aren't met, you then start beating yourself up. But if I just speak for myself, I know that's what I do sometimes, because it's like I don't think I will ever be content with where I'm at until I have a certain joy, until I have a comfortability where I can afford to really take those mental health days and take some time away from my everyday life and just be like, all right, I'm just chill today. But, I know that when I pray lately, I still worry. It was almost like I was losing myself because I try to encourage the discouraged, try to feed mind and touch hearts. So people always ask, where does the good people, the positive people, go when they need someone? And I have to keep it clear. They go to their friends and to their loved ones who care. I think we all have moments, and it's kind of one of those things where I am in life. It's like the people that I'm encountering now, they don't know who I am, whether it's fellow coworkers, whether it's associates who I come across on that. Like they don't know the 2005 Blair, the 2010, 13 Blair. I mean, we all changed. Like, these are my days like when I was young, I was cheerful, I was just like, I didn't have any children or nothing. It was like, I didn't have a lot of responsibility then, but it was still like, they didn't see me at my peak positive side. Like, I still feel like that I'm positive and encouraging, but I'm at a point where it's like, where I'm learning and I'm going through life, where it's like, hey, not everybody is your friend. You can't please everybody. Not everybody's going to get it. Not everybody's going to understand. Not everybody cares. Regardless of how positive you are, you have to, there's a time and place to, not be positive. You should be positive all the time. But there's a time and place to where you need to, be on extra. Because I think when you go through life as you get older, you start learning things. Things are revealed to you. And when those things that are revealed to you becomes a disappointment or becomes a surprise, you then kind of take a step back and be like, dang, everything I ever thought this was, it's not. Because again, in a perfect world, your expectations are going to be met all times. Like, in a perfect world, you will see yourself in a position of comfort. And I'm gonna be honest, me being the guy, if you know that even God allows things to happen. And I say this and I stand by it still. I do feel like, God is in us and God is allowing things. But again, the world is gonna keep going. But the coming of Jesus Christ, who is my Lord and Savior, will return when, we're all on the same page. It's like we look, I see everything that's going on in the world, and it's like we always want to blame, we can blame the government, we can blame the white man, we can blame the LGBT community. No one never looks and say, this is probably God's plan. I never hear that. I never see that. And I think, again, ignorance is a bliss. I say this all the time. But, if I have to go back again and double down on, my first thoughts is that, prayer works, but you can't just pray all the time. I'm not saying that you can't, you have to, I'm not saying that you pray that you like for in certain things. Prayer is the only thing that's going to work. What I'm saying is there are certain things that we have to do more than just pray. And then, when I think about, again, the expectation of myself, I'm like, am I living up to my expectations? Am I meeting all my goals? Am I giving myself time to rest as long as time to work? Because I will be 100% transparent and honest and vulnerable. I sometimes do not like being responsible. When I have one child, but I still feel like I have more because, again, I have stepkids and I have other kids who I helped raise throughout in a time. But I know I have my son, who I love and who is the most important person to me, my best friend, the most important person to me at all. But sometimes it gets hard. Sometimes I feel like I be feeling bad because, like, him staying with his mom and me staying by myself and being able to just, wake up whenever I want. It gets a lot because, again, I have a high expectation of myself, but it's like sometimes I let that struggle defeat me. I let that struggle of being a parent defeat me. I let that struggle of working a 9-to-5 defeat me. I let that struggle of finances defeat me. Again, it's a lazy spirit. But again, the positive in me, the good guy in me, the God guy in me is saying that I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to be fine. I just have to find that joy. Like, my son is my joy. My work that I do outside of my occupational day job is my joy. Whether that's writing, whether that's podcasting, whether that's just, creating music. And again, it's not for anything more, but for me to share and give insight and perspective and to just be expressive. If I get paid behind it, great, but it's just really a joy. Like, I enjoy doing it. It makes me feel better. Like, I had to push through just to get on and talk to you guys, you know what I'm saying? So thank you all for listening. And, again, I do encourage talking to someone. We a lot of Christians believe that that God, God is the answer, and He is. But we have to keep this in mind as well. We have to look at it as this also, because sometimes we misinterpret scriptures, and it's like, when it talks about, God, He will not leave nor forsake you. You have your friends, you have your family, have everything. He will not leave nor forsake you. That is true. But you also got to remember that God put people in our lives for a reason. So whenever you're struggling through something, whenever you're going through something, excuse me, like I'm going through something, you don't want to be a burden to anybody, but you have to also remember that getting the help is God being there for you. Having the strength and the will to get help and to apply yourself is God being there for you. Because again, I don't sit here and believe that, hey, I'm when I look in the sky, oh, there's God right there. No, God is in us. God is in His word. God is in our loved ones. God is in the universe. That's what I believe. That's what I know in my heart of hearts, and fully in physically, mentally, spiritually, that God is with us. And as I share this, I still know that I'm going to struggle through some things. And if I want, and in conclusion, as I end this up, I just want to share that I'm not perfect. And it's a cliche to say that, but as a man, as a human being, I am. Because as human beings and as man, we're going to go through things. We're going to struggle. We're going to be conflicted. I don't want to live in sin. There's going to be moments where I will be disobedient, but I don't want to be. Because again, mentally, I can know right from wrong. But see, the mental state sometimes can be faltered. It's a little pessimistic, but it's like I understand how life goes. I understand that you have to push through certain things in order to overcome. And because it gets hard, it's just like you have to stay faithful to yourself. And I think the more and more you fight your demons, the more and more you fight your demons, the more they're going to push you through. The more they're going to try to defeat you. But if you stay strong, if you learn to, I guess you could say, if you learn how to take control over them, everything will be okay. Because at the end of the day, it's manifestation. Again, as much as I know that I'm going to be okay, I'm not going to always be okay. And it's okay to admit to that. Life can be a contradiction because you can believe one thing and do another, because it's too hard to fight sometimes. So let me just go ahead and give up. Let me just go ahead and give up just for the day. All right. So I appreciate y'all listening, taking the time again to, hear me out. This is Blair, Cancer Care Bear, no hair, don't care, all faith, no fear. Y'all stay safe, stay prosperous, productive, and positive. And remember, if you had only one friend, that friend isn't me. It's love. One.